When we were on this farming life and we were scanning some cows, and I just mentioned the fact that when I'm reading out tag numbers that I would sometimes mix them up a bit, and the dyslexia is the reason why I would do that. It wasn't a conscious decision to say what trips me up on some days, but that's what I did. But the beauty of that is on some of like a Highland show or Fife show, I've had parents come up to me with their kids to say, "Oh, thank you very much for speaking about that. It's given our son or daughter a boost that there's somebody on the telly successful, hopefully successful, and it hasn't held them back, so thank you." So an unconscious decision of mine, if it can help somebody and change them, then fantastic. When I was at school back in the 90s, dyslexia wasn't something that was spoken about very much at school, so you just read a little bit slower than your classmates and maybe jumbled up some of your spelling, not quite as good as it should have been. It would be later in life before I would maybe label myself with the dyslexia tag. I was more than well aware, reading a book or reading a bit of stuff in school, that I was the last one to finish when reading anyway. So the words would jumble up in my head when I was looking at them, and then if I tried to write them down, I would maybe just jumble them slightly more than you would expect to. Back then, how did it make you feel? I was a farm kid at school. You're probably wanting to be home anyway, so I suppose there was a slight frustration from time to time when you knew what you wanted to answer the teacher, or you knew what you wanted to write, but your brain was writing it down different. I'm lucky that I can usually tell when I'm making a mistake, so I can't stop myself doing the mistake, but I can tell that what I'm writing is incorrect, and I can then rectify it. My head teacher and I would maybe see slightly not eye to eye, so maybe the fact that I couldn't answer the question or wrote something incorrectly frustrated her as much as it frustrated me, probably. We're lucky nowadays that it gets picked up on much quicker, and the techniques that they use are far easier than what I was under when I was at school. Books and magazines, I've read 2 books in my life, and one of them being The Twits. So reading a book is not something that is high on my enjoyment list. Magazines, I would be a great browser of headlines and a picture, and then make up my decision from there. When did I realise? Probably not until into my adult life. Once you hear somebody else's explanation of what dyslexia is and what the jumble upness in your brain is, then you can say, wait a minute, that's what I do. I'm lucky that I do a job I love, and the enjoyment I get in the job, even when I'm making an error, I usually have enough time to fix it whilst I'm writing down my cattle numbers or things like that. Probably one of the biggest stumbling blocks now in my adult life and in the job we do is when you're looking to clarify a point on government websites or whatever, the mono colour on a computer screen and the text. If you're struggling to read a word, even a simple word can sometimes be complicated. So in the younger generation, there is enough awareness because all these children are getting analysed and picked up on. The teachers are spot on in it, which is fantastic for the next generation. For my age group and above, do we just think we're not as bright as we should be? The awareness is becoming greater, which is fantastic. Well, I'm very lucky that it's not an inhibitor to what I do. And it probably actually, in some cases, improves what I do, because the more checking over you do, the easier it becomes. And because I know that I can sometimes make an error, I would double check it as I'm going. So maybe it's a superpower, maybe it's helped me, I don't know. Let's say it has. It was great to know that it wasn't a lack of effort, it was great to know that this is not because I'm not trying hard enough, this is not because I'm daft or anything like that, this is actually an issue that my brain just can't take that information in correctly and put it back out correctly. I'm happy with that sort of closure on the thing, but if you're sitting confused, then take the opportunity to find out for yourself and take the RSABI help to get a diagnosis, and it might just be the person that you come across might just give you that one piece of information to help you read something that makes life so much easier. My advice for any young person, and especially in farming, is this is not something that is going to hold you back in any way. You just have to find a management issue for yourself to cope with it, whether it's different fonts on stuff you read, whether it's different coloured paper that you read from. So my advice for anybody who maybe feels under the cosh with it is, don't worry, there's hundreds of successful people that are ahead of you already that have got this dyslexia diagnosis, and it's not stopped anyone from doing anything. It just is a different way to look at a problem, that's all.